Today is a very exciting day for us because we're going to our very first prenatal visit. Kind of nervous, hoping everything's going fine. How are you feeling, babe?
I am feeling excited, ready for these news. It's gonna be a girl.
It's too soon to tell,
Just
but
kidding,
yeah, we're team girl.
Look at that baby now.
I know, it's my baby.
Wow.
So we came to have breakfast at Corner Bakery. So I have a question for you. Do you want to wait till our food comes, or you want to do it now?
No.
You want to do it now? Okay. Are you ready?
No.
You want to read it or me?
I'll read it.
Oh my god! Oh, there she is. Oh, God. 39 weeks and 4 days. We came on a walk because we're trying to get you out, girlfriend. Look, we're gonna show you how empty the streets are, the parks, because there's a pandemic. All right, you cool cats and kittens. Just kidding. They just started the Pitocin, so my contractions should start happening more frequently any moment now. Am I nervous? Hell yeah, I am. How's a father feeling?
Nervous too.
Mass kisses, COVID-19 season. It is now 1 a.m. the next day. I got induced at, I'm gonna say like 1:15, 1:30. And my beautiful baby girl, she's a little hinchadita right now, but she's so precious. I swear the camera doesn't do her justice. She doesn't look like she has color and life in person, and on camera I feel like she looks like a little alien. She was born at 8:27 p.m. and we've just been here spending time together. We're trying to learn how to breastfeed. We're both new at this, so we'll get this. We're trying. We've only been doing this for like 20 hours. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paulina, and today I will be sharing with you my birth story. Oh, and this is my beautiful daughter. She looks over there. Hi, mamas. She's wide awake right now. It's probably because this bright light is in her face. I love you. Okay, so my birth story. Where do I begin? Well, I guess I can start by sharing what I wanted out of my birth. I originally planned for an unmedicated vaginal birth, and I wanted an unmedicated birth because I thought that if I got an epidural, it would kind of take me away from the moment. I really wanted to be present and feel everything. I wanted to feel her come out. I just wanted to be like fully there, and I felt like with the epidural, I was gonna be numb and I wouldn't have control of my body. But aside from that, I was also scared of the effects of an epidural. Like, I've heard that it gives you really bad back pain. Just all that stuff. I didn't want to have to deal with any of that. So my mindset going into my labor and delivery was unmedicated vaginal birth. I wanted my labor to be induced naturally. Like, I didn't want to have an induction because I've read that first-time moms usually end up having really long labors because, I don't know, that's just how the body is. And I was like terrified of that. I didn't want to have a long labor. I just wanted to be in and out. I had also read girls who have freaking like who had their baby in 2 hours. I'm like, oh, I hope that's me. Prior to reaching full term, 39 weeks, I started doing things that would naturally induce my labor. I began walking a lot. I started eating dates because I heard dates like helps your cervix, or I don't know what it does. Honestly, I can't think of it right now, but I know I was reading up on it and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. A bunch of other stuff that are good to naturally induce labor. And then I reached 39 weeks and she still wasn't here. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And then I reached 40 weeks and that's when I started to like kind of freak out. I wasn't freaking out, but I was just like getting a little more worried because again, I didn't want to have an induction and then have complications and it lead to something other than what I wanted. At 40 weeks, I met with my doctor and we decided to have an induction. We scheduled it. So I turned 40 weeks every Wednesday, and that's when I met with him when I turned 40 weeks. That Wednesday, we scheduled my induction for Friday at noon. And the day before, that Thursday, I was just like crying so much. I guess deep down I was just scared of being induced because of all the things that I have heard. So during my pregnancy, I was meditating a lot and practicing visualization for an unmedicated vaginal birth. And yeah, so I was able to calm myself down the day before by telling myself like, you're ready, you're prepared, your body knows what it's doing, like you'll be fine, don't worry. Vaginas do open, babies do come out. So that was my little pep talk. And I also did other things, like I made on a whiteboard, I wrote a mantra that I was like gonna follow throughout my labor and delivery. And it read, breathe, what did it say? Breathe, relax, and trust. And breathe, obviously, you try to focus on your breath through your contractions. Your contractions aren't as painful because your mind's not focusing on them, it's focusing on your breathing. And relax, I use that to remind me not to fight the contractions, to kind of relax my body and just let the contraction happen. And then trust is to trust my body, trust my caregivers, trust my nurses, trust my boyfriend. Just trust that I'm taken care of and that whatever happens is what's meant to happen. So the next morning, actually awoken at like 6:30 in the morning with like mild contractions. I'm pretty sure that's what it was because they felt like cramps. I've never really suffered from menstrual cramps. It kind of always just felt like a warm, whenever I was in pain from my period, it always just felt like a warm sensation down there, a warm, uncomfortable sensation. And this one was like that, but just a little more intense. Like I couldn't ignore it and it would come and go. So I was like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe this is a contraction. So I started timing them, and from like 6:30 in the morning to maybe like 10, my contractions were about 7 minutes apart, 7 to 8 minutes apart. And they wouldn't last that long. They would last maybe like 30 seconds. I couldn't sleep through them anymore. So I just got up and I started doing things around the house. Around 10:30, we left to the hospital because my appointment was at 12. We had to be there at 11 for like pre-registration and all that. And I actually got admitted into my room around 11:30, which was a little earlier than we were supposed to be in there. They checked my cervix around 11:50 and I was already 4 centimeters dilated when I got there. So I was already in early labor the day of my induction, which I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Because I didn't want to have to start from like 0 or 1 or whatever. So around 1:15, they induced me. They put the Pitocin in my body. Just maybe about 10 minutes later, the contraction started. And I was able to manage the contractions for about, I want to say like 2 hours. And those contractions, they gradually started to get worse. So they weren't like the contractions that I was feeling in the morning, that I was able to breathe through them. After about 2 hours, I just couldn't handle it anymore. Like my legs were shaking. It was so freaking painful. I just couldn't. And then I felt like this incredible pressure to like have to use a restroom, number 2. And it just felt like, oh, the contractions were so bad. Like obviously contractions are not meant to be easy. Labor is not easy. Having a baby is not easy. But the pain was like nothing that I imagined. And once they started to get really, really bad, I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I need an epidural. So I asked for an epidural when I was already 6 centimeters dilated. And obviously I had been wanting, my whole pregnancy I had been saying like, I want an unmedicated birth. Like that's what I'm gonna shoot for. I'm gonna try to be tough. Once I started feeling that pain, like I could only take so much of it. I was like, you know what? I cannot handle this. It is so freaking painful. Like, please give me the epidural. And my boyfriend just kind of looked at me. He didn't like judge me or anything, but he just gave me that look. Are you sure this is what you want? Like, you've been pushing so hard and mentally preparing for an unmedicated birth. So he suggested, are you sure you don't want just the muscle relaxers? I know they mentioned that they have that, and I was like, no, 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 give me the epidural, please. Throughout this, I'm still kind of like trying to keep my composure and trying to keep calm as best as I can, because I know if you lose control, it's harder for them to put the epidural in. So I'm still trying to breathe through the contractions. But it just got so freaking hard, dude. The deeper I would try to breathe, the more the contraction hurt. And I was like, dude, you gotta be kidding me. There's no way. And I'm barely like 6 centimeters. There's no way that I can, well, I'm sure there could have been a way. Many women have done it. If there's something that could relieve this pain and make this labor easier, like please just give it to me. I didn't like beat myself up for it or anything. I told myself that I was gonna go in with an open mind, and if the birth didn't go the way I planned it, like it was perfectly okay as long as my baby came out healthy and I was healthy, I'd be fine with whatever it took to get there. Are you sleeping now, mamita? She knocked out. So once they put the epidural in, it took a few minutes for it to kick in, and I was able to sleep through my contractions. So I slept for maybe like an hour, and then around 7, my nurses switched. When my new nurse came in, everything just started happening so fast. She checked my cervix. She's like, okay, you're between 7 and 8 centimeters dilated. Okay, so at this point, we're gonna turn you to the side to see if the baby starts to move down a little bit more, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as she turned me to the side, my water broke. She had stepped out, so I called her back. I'm like, hey, I think my water broke. I felt something really wet down there. Oi, mama. Am I talking too loud? I'm sorry. After my water broke, everything just started moving super fast. She checked me again and I was already 9 centimeters dilated. After that, everything moved pretty quickly. The contractions, they weren't as painful, but they were really uncomfortable because it just feels like a whole bunch of pressure on your butthole. Like it just feels like you have to take a shit every time, dude. And you don't go. Once she called the doctor, once the doctor got there, I started pushing. I pushed for a total of 45 minutes, about 45 minutes, maybe a little less. It was crazy. I would have probably pushed a little bit longer had my doctor not snipped me. Snipped sounds like dogs, like they get snipped, right? That's what you call it. That's how you say it. Yeah, so my doctor had to cut me because my little baby's head kept hitting the bottom wall of my vaginal, whatever it's called. I don't know the medical terms for it, but she was stuck behind that wall. So I guess after a while, he's just like, I'm gonna cut you. It's better that I cut you than she tears you, because you don't know how much she'll end up tearing you, and I know how much I need to cut. So he ended up cutting me, and as soon as he did that, she friggin' just like popped out, and then I heard her crying. Just hearing her cry, hearing her first breath in the world, it just made me, I don't want to say emotional. I mean, obviously it's an emotional thing, but I just like started crying. I started bawling. Immediately after, they're kind of holding her, like I guess checking her, and I'm just reaching for her, touching her, feeling her warm skin. She was so warm. And then cleaned her a little bit, and then we did what is called the golden hour. You do skin to skin contact with your baby for about an hour, and it's supposed to help you and the baby recover a little bit faster. You know, it stabilizes whatever is going on in our body. I was able to spend like an hour and a half with her, skin to skin, right after she was born. I can't believe women's bodies do this. What the fuck? Yeah, so after the skin to skin, they moved us to our postpartum room, and there I was able to, we had to stay 24 hours after the baby was born. So we had to stay there until the following day. It was just a bunch of recovery, super painful recovery, but I've been recovering pretty quickly now. I am 11 days postpartum and I already feel a ton better. I thought it was gonna take way longer because they tell you not to do anything for like 6 to 8 weeks. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Just kidding. But that was my birth story. It was pretty fast. My doctors and my nurses kept telling me how amazing I was doing, and I was like, oh, you're supposed to say that. First time moms end up pushing at least an hour, and I did it in about 40 to 45 minutes. I was super happy that my induction only lasted, let's see, I got induced around 1:15 and she was born at 8:27. So my induction was a little over 7 hours, which is great. I didn't want to be there long. Yeah, so that's my birth story. I would freaking love if you guys, any moms out there who are watching this, if you share your birth story with me. They're so freaking interesting. Like, I just want to hear everybody's birth story. I think it's amazing. I think the women's body is amazing. I have a way deeper appreciation for our bodies now that I'm a mom. Honestly, just a deeper appreciation for life now that I'm a mom. I feel like before I didn't see the magic that is creating life. Two of my best friends, I mean, I have a lot of friends who are moms, but like two of my best friends have kids. And now that I have my daughter, I feel like I wasn't present enough for their pregnancies and their births, and I wish I would have been, because now I see how amazing it is and how amazing it is to have kids, and it just makes me want to continue to stay present and in the moment, just cherish every single moment. So yeah, that's my birth story. I would love it if you guys would share your birth story with me. Feel free to leave me a comment or write me a message. I'll leave my tag for Instagram so you can message me there, or you can message me on Twitter, whatever, and share your birth story with me if you've been wanting to share it with someone. Because I know when I gave birth, I just wanted to talk about it. And luckily I have, my girlfriends did let me talk about it, so that was cool. But now I'm sharing it with you guys. My next video will either be my morning routine with this little baby girl. A few weeks from now, I will give you an update on my postpartum weight loss journey, because I did gain quite a bit of weight during my pregnancy. So yeah, be on the lookout for those videos, and I will see you guys in my next one. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my birth story. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.